Hey everyone, welcome to our deep dive on how to totally crush a Vermouth manufacturer interview.
Love it. This is going to be fun.
Yeah, we're going deep today using all the awesome stuff from RoleCatcher, like their career guide and all their interview tips.
Their stuff is so helpful.
Right, so, okay, let's just pretend for a second. You're sitting there in the interview, and the hiring manager's like, okay, tell me about your experience in the alcohol manufacturing industry. Like,
Yeah.
what's the move there? How do you nail it?
Well, they're really trying to figure out if you know the industry and you know how the whole alcohol production thing even works.
Okay, so it's not just listing jobs. Oh yeah, I worked at a distillery.
Right. You got to connect the dots. So like instead of just saying I worked at a distillery, you could say as a production assistant at XYZ distillery, I was responsible for, monitoring fermentation temperatures and doing all the quality checks during the distillation process.
Ah, so just like showing them you actually did stuff, not just that you were there.
Exactly. And don't be afraid to get specific. The more details, the better.
Okay, love that. So how else can our listener, really make their answer stand out?
Since we're talking vermouth specifically, you want to bring up any experience with fortified wines, botanicals, even traditional winemaking stuff. All that ties into vermouth.
So even if you haven't made vermouth before, you can still talk about stuff that relates to it.
For sure. And certifications or training those always help. If you took classes on winemaking or sensory analysis or quality control for alcoholic beverages, mention those.
Makes sense. Okay, and remember, RoleCatcher has that cool AI thing that can help you polish your answers, right?
Oh yeah, their AI feedback tool. It's amazing. It looks at what you write, considers the actual job you're going for, and gives you tips. It's like having an extra set of eyes on your answers.
So helpful.
All right.
Okay, moving on. Quality control, that's like huge in food and beverage. How would you handle this question? How do you ensure the quality of the vermouth you produce?
This is where you prove, quality control inside and out, especially for vermouth. Don't just give textbook answers. Tell a story. Like a time you totally nailed quality control.
Stories are always more interesting.
Totally. So you could say, in my last job at a winery, I saw the white wine was kind of off in color. I figured out it was a filter problem and fixed it. Saved the company tons of money.
See, that's way better than I'm good at quality control.
Right. It shows you can actually do it. Now with vermouth, there's specific stuff to think about, like, are the botanicals doing their thing? Is it sweet enough? Does the color look right for the style?
So you gotta know vermouth, not just general quality stuff.
Yep. And RoleCatcher's career guide is super useful here. It tells you exactly what skills and knowledge vermouth makers need.
Oh yeah, their career guide is packed with info. What's in there about quality control?
Well, it says sensory evaluation is key. Can you taste the different botanicals? Does it balance sweet, bitters, acidic? It's like developing a super palate.
So any experience with tasting stuff, wine tasting,
Yeah.
even just having a good sense of taste, you should definitely mention that.
Yep. And if you got certifications in sensory analysis or flavor chemistry, flaunt those too.
Okay, let's switch gears to inventory. How do you manage inventory and ensure that the production process runs smoothly? Inventory is so important for keeping things running.
Absolutely. When you talk about your experience managing inventory, what systems did you use? How'd you do it?
So not just, oh, I'm good at keeping track of things.
Nope. Show, the lingo like FIFO or LIFO. That proves you get inventory control.
And if you've used any software for inventory, definitely mention that.
Oh yeah, for sure. And don't forget to connect the dots for them. Explain how your inventory skills will help with vermouth specifically.
Okay, so they could say something like, at my last job at a beverage company, I implemented this new inventory tracking system, and it cut down on stockouts by 15%. Production was way more efficient. Like, boom, that's an impact statement.
Exactly. Now think about vermouth's special quirks. It uses ingredients from all over. Some are seasonal, some take ages to get.
So showing you get those challenges would impress them.
Totally. For example, you could be like, I know that finding good botanicals for vermouth can be tough. So I'd focus on making good relationships with suppliers, getting contracts early, and setting up a solid tracking system to make sure we always have what we need.
So you're already thinking like a vermouth pro. Now I'm curious, what else is in RoleCatcher's guide that can help here?
They talk about forecasting, which is huge for vermouth. It takes a while to age, so predicting demand is super important. Gotta avoid those shortages or having too much stuff.
So if our listener has done any forecasting or demand planning, they should talk about that.
100%. And even if they haven't, just saying they understand how crucial it is shows they're a quick learner.
Good point. Okay, let's tackle this question. How do you stay up to date with industry trends and changes in regulations? The alcohol world changes so fast. How can our listeners show they're on top of it all?
Get specific, name drop those trade publications you read, like Beverage Industry Magazine, or conferences you go to, like the American Distilling Institute one.
Ah, so it's like showing them you're actively involved in the industry.
Exactly. And since it's vermouth, be even more specific. Follow those vermouth blogs on social media or hit up different vermouth bars. See what's new, what's hot.
That's a cool way to show you're passionate about it.
Right. Staying current means you're always learning and growing. And that's something every employer loves. Speaking of growing, RoleCatcher has a bunch of resources to help you stay ahead of the game.
Oh, tell me more. How can RoleCatcher help our listeners stay sharp?
They have a whole section for skill development with courses and articles on all sorts of beverage industry topics. Plus, they give you personalized recommendations based on what you want to do in your career.
That's so cool. So it's not just about getting the job, it's about constantly leveling up your skills.
Exactly. Now let's talk about those behavioral questions. Interviewers love these. They want to see how you handle real stuff. Like, can you describe a time when you had to troubleshoot a problem in the production process?
Those can be kind of tough. What's the best approach?
Remember the STAR method: situation, task, action, result. First, set the scene. Describe a problem you faced in production. It doesn't have to be vermouth, but it should show off skills that apply.
So like a machine broke down or you ran out of an ingredient.
Exactly. Then explain what you had to do, what steps you took to fix it, and the awesome results you got.
And don't forget to quantify those results. Did you save time, reduce waste, or boost efficiency? Numbers always make a bigger impact.
Absolutely. For example, by putting in a new filtration system, I cut waste by 10% and increased product yield by 5%. Way better than just saying I made things more efficient.
Okay, now for the creative part. Can you explain your experience with recipe development and flavor profiling? This is your chance to show off your vermouth passion.
Oh, I love this question. Vermouth is all about blending flavors. So talk about what, botanicals, wine varietals, how to balance flavors, make them taste your expertise.
So what are some ways our listener can really highlight their recipe development skills?
If they've created any winning vermouth flavors, share those stories. Talk about what inspired them. The cool botanicals they used, the rave reviews they got. It's like taking the interviewer on a flavor journey.
It's like a behind-the-scenes look at their vermouth creativity.
Exactly. Even if they haven't made their own vermouth, they can talk about how they explore flavors, like their favorite vermouth cocktails, and why those flavors work so well.
That shows they understand how flavors play together.
Exactly. And what does RoleCatcher's career guide say about this? Well, it emphasizes how important experimentation is in vermouth. Try new botanicals, play with different base wines, always be on the lookout for cool new flavor combos.
So even if you're just starting out, that willingness to learn, to try new things, that's what they're looking for.
Totally. It shows you're passionate about the craft and you want to be part of vermouth's evolution. Okay, let's get practical for a sec. Bottling and packaging, super important for quality and how the brand looks. So the interviewer wants to make sure you get that bottling and packaging are key to keeping the vermouth top-notch and making the brand shine.
So how can our listeners show off their bottling and packaging knowledge?
Talk about their experience with the equipment, highlight that they know the industry standards, and don't forget to mention quality control during bottling and packaging. It shows they care about keeping the product perfect.
And safety and hygiene? Those are non-negotiables in food and beverage.
You got it. Cleanliness and safety are a must in any food production environment. Vermouth is no exception.
Okay, last question for this part of our deep dive. Can you describe your experience working with suppliers and sourcing ingredients for vermouth? Why are those supplier relationships so important in this industry?
Because you can't make amazing vermouth without awesome ingredients. Strong relationships mean you get consistent, quality, reliable deliveries, and maybe even better prices. So when you answer this, talk about how you work with suppliers. What's your approach to things like quality assurance, negotiating prices, and making sure deliveries happen on time?
So it's not just about finding the cheapest ingredients, it's about those long-term partnerships.
Totally. Share examples of successful supplier relationships you've built. Talk about negotiating sweet deals, resolving delivery hiccups, or even working together on new product ideas. That shows off your supplier management skills.
And what about ethical sourcing and sustainability? Those are huge right now.
Huge. People want to know where their stuff comes from and that it's made responsibly. Mentioning those values shows you're in tune with what consumers care about.
So they could say something like, I make it a point to work with suppliers who are all about ethical sourcing and sustainability. I think using high-quality, responsibly sourced ingredients, not only makes the vermouth taste better, but it also reflects what our brand stands for.
That's the perfect way to connect your answer to the company's values and show that you'd be a great fit.
All right, that's it for part one of our Vermouth Manufacturer Interview Prep Deep Dive. We've covered a lot already, exploring key interview questions and getting those awesome insights from RoleCatcher.
And don't forget, RoleCatcher is here to help you every step of the way. Their platform has everything you need to prep for your interview, make your answers shine, and ultimately land that dream job.
Make sure you come back for part two. We'll keep diving deep, exploring even more questions, and giving you those expert tips to totally wow the interviewer.
Welcome back to our Vermouth Manufacturer Interview Prep Deep Dive. Last time we tackled some common interview questions and how RoleCatcher can help you nail those answers. Now let's get into some more, specialized questions that really dig into your vermouth knowledge and passion.
I'm ready to get my vermouth geek on. What about this one? Can you describe your experience with marketing and promoting vermouth? Now we're talking about getting the word out there right, branding and appealing to those thirsty customers.
You got it. Even the best vermouth in the world needs a solid marketing plan to reach the right people. So when you answer this question, think about any marketing campaigns you've worked on for alcoholic beverages, especially ones that target a similar crowd as vermouth drinkers.
So if you've got experience marketing wine or craft cocktails, that's definitely relevant.
Definitely. And be specific about what you did, what results you got, and anything you learned about the target market. For example, you could say something like, in my previous role at a winery, I ran a social media campaign that boosted brand awareness by 20% and online sales went up by 15%.
Love those numbers. It's not just about saying you did something, it's about proving it had an impact.
Exactly. And since we're all about vermouth here, remember to focus on what makes vermouth special, what are its unique selling points, what kind of person is drawn to those complex flavors, and how versatile it is.
Right. It's about getting into the mind of the vermouth lover. Maybe it's the home bartender who wants to make fancy cocktails, or the foodie who appreciates those artisanal ingredients and old-school production methods.
Exactly. And here's where you can really shine with some out-of-the-box thinking. Imagine the interviewer asks, what are some hot trends in the vermouth market right now, and how would you use those in a marketing campaign?
Well, that's a good one. It's your chance to show you're not just knowledgeable, but you're thinking ahead and being creative.
Exactly. You could talk about how classic cocktails are making a comeback, and vermouth is a key player in so many of those. Or you could mention the growing interest in low ABV cocktails and position vermouth as a sophisticated alternative to hard liquor.
You love those ideas. And wouldn't tapping into the sustainability trend be a smart move too? Like highlighting organic botanicals or eco-friendly packaging?
Totally. Sustainability is a big deal for so many people these days, showing you get that demonstrates you're aligned with companies that care about the planet.
Okay, so marketing is key, but what about those supplier relationships? We talked about this a bit in part one, but let's go deeper. Imagine the interviewer asks, what are some major challenges you see in sourcing ingredients for vermouth, and how would you handle them?
This question is all about showing you understand the ins and outs of the vermouth supply chain, and that you can think ahead and be strategic.
So what kind of challenges might pop up?
Well, sourcing top-notch botanicals can be tricky. Vermouth uses a whole bunch of them. Some are rare, some are seasonal, some only grow in specific places.
So keeping a steady supply of those botanicals could be a real headache.
Exactly. And then there's the issue of prices going up and down. The cost of botanicals can fluctuate like crazy depending on weather, crop yields, and global demand.
So how could our listener prove they can handle these curveballs?
Talk about building strong relationships with suppliers, locking in prices with long-term contracts, and having multiple sources for those key ingredients just in case one falls through.
Smart moves. And it wouldn't hurt to have a backup plan if a certain botanical suddenly becomes impossible to get.
Right. Maybe you could find other botanicals with similar flavors or team up with a flavor chemist to create a natural substitute.
Love that problem-solving attitude. Okay, we've covered a lot, but let's circle back to RoleCatcher's AI-powered tools for a sec. I'm blown away by how much their AI can do, from fine-tuning your resume to practicing your interview answers.
It's a game changer for sure. It takes all your skills, your experience, and your career goals, and then gives you personalized advice and feedback to help you crush your job search.
So it's like having a personal career coach in your pocket.
Exactly. If you're serious about making vermouth your career, check out RoleCatcher. It'll give you a huge advantage in the job market.
Great advice. Now back to the interview. Let's say the interviewer hits you with this. Tell me about a time you failed. Nobody likes to talk about their failures, but this question is all about seeing how self-aware you are, how well you learn from mistakes, and if you can bounce back from setbacks.
It's a tough one, but the trick is to pick a failure that you actually learned something from and that shows off your good qualities. Don't go for something where you just didn't try hard enough or did something unethical.
So it's better to talk about a recipe that went wrong or a deadline you missed than a time you lied or were irresponsible.
Exactly. And when you're telling the story, focus on what you did to fix things and the lessons you took away from it.
So like at my last job, I totally underestimated how long a project would take, and we missed the deadline. I owned up to my mistake, worked extra hours to get it back on track, and created a new time management system so it wouldn't happen again.
Perfect example. It shows you're accountable, you take action, and you're always looking for ways to improve.
Now, does RoleCatcher's AI have anything to say about answering these tricky behavioral questions?
Of course. It can analyze those common questions and give you examples of how to structure your answers. Plus, you get personalized feedback based on your experience and the job you want.
So it's like a virtual interview coach helping you prep for those tough questions.
You got it. And don't forget, soft skills are just as important as technical skills in the Vermouth world. Employers want people who can work together, communicate clearly, solve problems creatively, and roll with the punches.
Okay, so we've got technical skills, soft skills.
Yeah.
What else? Oh, passion. How can our listener really convey their love of vermouth in a genuine way?
Passion is infectious. Let your enthusiasm shine through. Talk about what excites you about vermouth. Maybe it's the history, the artistry of blending flavors, or how versatile it is in cocktails.
Sharing that personal connection to vermouth can really make you stand out.
For sure. And don't be shy about talking about your own vermouth journey. Maybe you have a go-to vermouth cocktail. You've tried making your own vermouth at home, or you've been on a vermouth bar crawl to sample different styles.
It shows that vermouth is more than just a job for you. It's something you genuinely enjoy.
Exactly. And the most important thing is to be yourself. Let your personality shine through and let that vermouth passion be your guide.
Now, towards the end of the interview, you'll probably get the chance to ask questions. It's not just about answering their questions, it's about showing you're curious and engaged by asking thoughtful questions of your own.
So true. Asking questions shows you're proactive, you've done your homework, and you're genuinely interested in the company and the role. It's a fantastic way to leave a lasting impression.
So what are some smart questions our listener could ask?
They could ask about the company culture, their vision for Vermouth's future, or the specific challenges and opportunities that come with the role. They could also ask about professional development or the company's commitment to sustainability and ethical sourcing.
Great questions. It shows you're thinking beyond just the day-to-day tasks, and you're interested in the bigger picture.
Right. And the questions you ask can help you figure out if this company and this role are the right fit for you. It's a two-way street.
Okay, so we've covered a ton in this episode. From technical stuff to marketing to those all-important soft skills. We've learned so much from RoleCatcher's awesome resources like their career guide, their AI-powered tools, and their expert interview tips. Hopefully you're feeling prepped and confident to go out there and rock that interview and land your dream job in the amazing world of vermouth.
Remember, preparation is key. Do your research, practice your answers, use all the resources you can get your hands on, and most importantly, let your passion for vermouth shine through.
And don't forget to sign up for a free RoleCatcher account. It's like having a secret weapon to help you navigate the job search and land that perfect role in this exciting industry.
Here's to your success. We can't wait to see what incredible vermouth creations you bring to the world.
Welcome back, everyone, to our final round of Vermouth Manufacturer interview prep. We've hit those key questions, dug into RoleCatcher's amazing resources, and now it's time to fine-tune your game plan and send you in with confidence.
Totally. We've covered the technical side, marketing, and even those tricky behavioral questions. But let's not forget about soft skills. Those can really make you stand out.
Okay, soft skills. What are we talking about specifically for a vermouth manufacturer?
Communication, teamwork, problem-solving, adaptability, all super important in a busy production environment. Think about this. Can you describe a time you had to work effectively as part of a team to overcome a challenge? Classic interview question.
Yeah, that makes sense. Vermouth production has so many moving parts. Different departments, from sourcing ingredients to bottling and shipping. It's all about teamwork.
Exactly. And it's not enough to just say, oh, I'm a team player. You got to back it up with a story. Use the STAR method: situation, task, action, result. Keeps your answer clear and engaging.
Okay, break down the STAR method for us. What's a good situation in this case?
Think of a time you had to team up with others to get something done, ideally in a production or manufacturing setting. Maybe a machine went kaput and your team had to figure out how to fix it and get things running again.
Perfect example. It's relevant to vermouth and shows how important teamwork is in a fast-paced environment. So what's the task in this situation?
The task is your specific role in fixing that broken machine. Maybe you had to figure out what went wrong, research solutions, or work with other teams to get the repairs done ASC.
Okay, situation task. Now what about action? This is where you show off your skills, right?
Exactly. Here's where you describe what you did to tackle the challenge. Maybe you talked to the senior techs, studied the manuals, or tested different fixes until you found the one that worked. It's all about showing your initiative, problem-solving skills, and how well you collaborate.
And last but not least, the result. Wrap it all up and show the positive outcome of all your hard work.
Right. Maybe your team fixed the machine super fast, saving the company time and money. Or maybe you set up a new maintenance plan to prevent those breakdowns in the future. The point is to highlight how your teamwork and problem-solving made a difference.
I'm loving the STAR method. It's such a clear way to structure your answer and bring your experience to life. Now, RoleCatcher has that cool AI tool that helps you practice your answers. Can it also give feedback on your soft skills?
Definitely. It can analyze your responses, see what needs work, and even suggest ways to make those soft skills shine. Plus, it helps you tailor your answers to the specific company's culture and values, so you come across as a perfect fit.
So it's like having a virtual interview coach, helping you polish your communication and show your best side.
Exactly. And don't forget, soft skills are just as crucial as technical skills in the Vermouth world. Employers want people who can work well together, communicate clearly, be creative problem solvers, and adapt to anything.
Now, for a soft skill, that's super important in any creative field, especially something like vermouth production. Passion. How can our listeners show their love for vermouth in a genuine way?
Passion is magnetic. Let that enthusiasm flow. Talk about what you love about vermouth, the history, the tradition, the art of blending flavors, the fact that it works in so many cocktails.
Yeah, sharing your personal connection to vermouth can really set you apart.
Totally. And talk about your own vermouth adventures. Maybe you have a favorite vermouth cocktail you've experimented with making your own vermouth at home, or you've hit up all the vermouth bars in town to try different styles.
It shows vermouth isn't just a job. It's something you actually live and breathe.
Exactly. And the most important thing, be yourself. Let your personality shine through and let that vermouth passion guide you.
Okay, last tip before we wrap things up. Asking insightful questions. It's not just about answering their questions, but also showing you're curious and engaged by asking smart questions of your own.
So important. Asking questions shows you're proactive, you've done your research, and you really care about the company and the role. It's a great way to leave a lasting impression.
What are some good questions our listener could ask?
They could ask about the company culture, their vision for vermouth, what challenges and opportunities the role has. They could even ask about professional development or how the company is committed to sustainability and ethical sourcing.
Love it. It shows you're thinking beyond just the day-to-day tasks and you're interested in the big picture.
Right. And the questions you ask can help you figure out if this company and this role are right for you. It's a two-way street. Remember that.
All right, folks, I think we've covered it all. From the nitty-gritty technical details to marketing magic to those all-important soft skills, we've learned so much from RoleCatcher's amazing resources, their career guide, their AI-powered tools, and their expert interview tips. So go out there, rock that interview, and land your dream job in the awesome world of vermouth. And don't forget to sign up for a free RoleCatcher account. It's your secret weapon for navigating the job search and landing that perfect role in this exciting industry. Cheers to your success. We can't wait to see what incredible vermouth creations you'll bring to the world. That's it for our deep dive on acing that Vermouth Manufacturer interview. Until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep diving deep.